All right, good morning, traders. It's September 3rd, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks family. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, I want to thank everybody out there, excuse me, digital land, cyber land, podcast land, everybody out there. Thank you for following, subscribing, liking, sharing all of my content. Thank you for following me on my trading journey. Special shout out to John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted. Thank you for sharing my content, helping me get the word out there. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, let's go take a look at what happened yesterday. All right, and we'll take a look at the markets and see what they're doing and see what happened. Before I get started, got some special announcements. This Thursday, September 4th, only for members. Sorry, everybody out there in podcast land, but only for members. This is a special member e-learning. All right, actually, they're all special. All right, on Thursday, it's the first Thursday of the month, and we do a presentation, and the topic is stop losing money, critical mistakes, how to avoid them. So you're going to get three different takes or three different webinars from the team here at BYOB at Hit and Run Candlesticks. All right, and we're gonna try to help traders. All right, so there's member e-learning Thursday, starts at noon, and it probably ends at probably about 3 o'clock when Rick's done. Okay, so that's Thursday. Remember to be here Thursday at noon. Pretty sure it will be recorded, no guarantees. So again, you probably want to attend so you don't miss out on that. Okay, so there is the member e-learning. Another announcement. All right, got the BYOB. It's that time again. BYOB open house starts September 8th at 8 o'clock in the morning and runs till 4:15 in the afternoon, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so open house in the BYOB Trading Room. All right. I will leave a link in the description for you to get registered for the open house. All right. Just want to say, and the last 4 or 5 open houses or more have been profitable for traders. Okay, we've increased our accounts by at least 1%, at least, sometimes 2 and 3%. So it's maybe something you might not want to miss. All right, and that's going to be next Monday here. All right, that's September 8th. I want to remind everybody again, the link will be in the description. Attendance is no charge. All right, but you got to get registered to attend. All right, so fill in that registration. I will. Yes, Jim asked, will I be launching a new 27K account? Yes, I will launch a new one for the open house of September 8th. A new 27K account, yes. All right, so there it is, open house. All right, let's take a look at the markets. There's the member e-learning, review on that. Okay, today is September 3rd. Good morning, thanks for being here. You know the deal, my pivot, 638.10, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. I don't think we'll get anywhere near it today based on where price is at right now, but I could be surprised. All right. IWM made a lower high and everybody made lower highs and lower lows. Okay, just gonna go across the board, everybody except for precious metals. All right, and commodities too. All right, so UNG and USO. So nat gas and petroleum did not make. Okay, but as far as the indexes go, they all made lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so IWM made a lower high, lower low, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17. SPY, QQQ, and FNGU made, again, lower highs, lower lows, closing under their traps or crosses, okay, under their 17 EMAs. Diamond Dow, lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Big rally at the end of the day on SPY. Bulls came in to rescue the day. Silver in an uptrend, new 12-year high. Gold in an uptrend, new all-time high. Silver all-time high is around 46 or 48. I'm not sure. It's around there. It's between the two of them, or if not one of the two of them. That's silver all-time high. Okay. USO now in a daily uptrend, made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG lower high, lower low, closing above the bullish trap over the 17. US dollar index still in a downtrend, closed near 98.29 area. SPY max pain for today. That's the SPY options that expire today. Okay, is 640 with a put to call ratio of about 1.1 put to each call that expires today at 4:15. Okay, now these are all in uptrends above the 17 EMA. These are all in downtrends below the 17 EMA. Okay. If they got a little star next to them, okay, means they're probably breaking out, all right, or they're building a launch pad from which to take off higher, all right. So they're either building a launch pad or they're taking off higher on these with the stars next to them, okay. And how I like to trade them is I find that 10-minute uptrend and I trade it till the 3 crosses back over the 8 on either the 10 or the 15-minute uptrend, okay? That's how I like to trade those, okay? So if the 3 crosses back over the 8, kill the trade. That's what I do. So they're like primed up for a breakout, all right? Got a little launch pad. They're either constructing the launch pad or they're in the process of igniting the rockets, all right? So there's the bulls. Again, 17 uptrends over the 17 EMA. Bears, okay, same thing. Downtrends under the 17 EMA, okay, if they got a little star. No, they're not building a launch pad. They're building a platform for another dip lower, okay? That's what they're building. It's building out a platform that's when price action moves over to the right, all right? And it can't, it's not rising, but it's not dropping. Another way, they're grinding away at support below and to make a move lower, all right? If you see those with the stars. Not to say that these won't move lower as well. They're already in downtrends. Again, on these, I would look for me, this is just me, all right? I like to look for 10-minute downtrend, okay, under VWAP. Same here, 10-minute uptrend on the bulls. Over VWAP, I like to look for 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, all right? And then I like to stay in it till the 3 crosses back over the 8, and then that's it, all right? So these are downtrends, uptrends right here. Okay, so let's go take a look at the markets today. Let's take a look at SPY first. All right, so lots of overnight action here on SPY. Somehow I got messed up. Okay, let me try this just a little more. All right, let's take a look at this. SPY, let's take this off. All right, so for SPY, if you came in yesterday at the very open, I explained that I wanted to see price move up to 639. And I said I'm buying calls, and lo and behold, price moved up to 639. Okay, and it couldn't hold it up there, and then we bought puts to come on down here and make a lower low because that was a lower high. So that was yesterday. Anyways, 10-minute chart. See, we got ourselves a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. right there. So I got to say, in the last post-market 10-minute candle, they went from, well, 640.18 clear up to 642. That's a $2 10-minute candle right there. All right, so nice rip into the close right there. So SPY 10-minute uptrend. 2 hour still in a downtrend when we left off at the close. Overnight looks like it's crossing back over. 2-hour downtrend into the close yesterday. Daily chart. That'd be this candle right here. All right, daily chart. Lower high, lower low, closing. We closed underneath the trap. See the trap up here? And we closed underneath the 17 EMA right there on SPY. Okay, so SPY, we'll zoom way out here. You can see price action still at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. Okay, so bullish and still in an uptrend. They didn't make a lower low, all right? Had they made a lower low, they would have had a downtrend, but didn't make a lower low, so price action up there, bullish and still in an uptrend. Weekly chart, still in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still in an uptrend, okay? Yesterday we left off, we had an inverse head and shoulders. This would be the head right here on the 10-minute chart. That would be the head. That would be the right shoulder. And this would be the left shoulder right here. Okay, where price drops all the way down. That would be the left shoulder, right shoulder. So we have inverse head and shoulders. Where would we like to see price rise to? Well, the gap fill. All right, so the gap fill is right about 645 right there. Okay, like to see price rise up over this consolidation and hold the higher ground. What do we got in the pre-market, post-market? Let's take a look. Let's get the drawing tools out. See if they're going to work today. All right, let's try the boxes. Okay, see if we can get that to work. Okay, you get consolidation. Nope, they're not going to work. All right, let me just try something real quick here so we can Epic Pen, in task, Epic Pen. It's coming. It's coming. Sorry about the delay. Okay, get the box. All right, so you can see right here we got consolidation. Okay, and then over here, consolidation. Okay. Traders, BYOB traders know this. Okay, consolidation over prior consolidation is a bullish environment. Okay, not to say that we won't dip. All right, but I would look for a higher low if we did dip. Okay, where we find support and the higher low, unsure. Maybe at the gap fill. Maybe right here. We'll see. But that is a bullish environment right there. Consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, just want to point that out. That's in the pre-market. All right, so not to say that we won't get a pullback. We'll see if they're going to go fill this gap before we open up. We'll find out. It's a possibility they fill the gap before we open up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. Okay, price currently at 643.32. Gap fill, of course, is 645. Okay, again, 2-hour downtrend when we left off yesterday. Let me remind everybody what my favorite trade is. Okay, my favorite trade is the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that's inside the 2-hour uptrend. We didn't have it. We still don't have a 2-hour uptrend, but we did get a 2-hour cross in the overnight session here. Just want to point that out. Okay, 2-hour cross happened overnight. Okay, so 2-hour uptrend. I like the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside the 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily uptrend, that's inside the weekly uptrend, that's inside the monthly uptrend. All right, that's my favorite trade. All right, because I got all of the major, the bigger time frames supporting the price action of my 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. That's my favorite trade. Okay, this is a rare opportunity right now. Okay, when we have those setups, because you're not going to see that 6 months from now. I really don't think so. I think we'll be doing some sort of consolidation or finding support probably 6 months from now. Right now, we are still bullish. We're still in an uptrend, all right? And that's for SPY. Let's take a look at the game plan, and then we'll go over to QQQ. The game plan for this morning, okay? Again, the pivot, 638.10. It's not going to be very relevant if price is going to be attacking the gap fill, all right, and hanging out up here and producing possible higher highs, all right? But anyways, it is at my pivot is 638.10. Okay, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. Green erases red based on yesterday's price action, okay? Of course, we're way up past it. Green erases red. Price over 640.30, all right? That's my bullish entry, 640.30. So we may find support on 640.30 or 640.40 or 640.50 right there, okay? So bullish, green erases red, over, that'd be a 10-minute uptrend over 640.30, okay? That would be one of my bullish entries if price were to break out, but we're already broke out over that. Bearish, okay, underneath 635.05, that would be my bearish red erases green entry, okay? So this is the green erases red, 640.30, red erases green, 635.05, okay? That's my SPY game plan, okay? What do I like? I like 2 days till expiration and 9 days till expiration. Friday options. Fridays have more open interest. I like them on the multiple of 5. The multiple of 5 has more open interest, okay? And I like strikes that are 2 or 3 to $15 out of the money, okay? I like, I'm going to say it, 10-minute uptrends over VWAP that are breaking up, and away from VWAP. In other words, price is separating itself from VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP that are breaking down and away from VWAP. Now, if a 10-minute uptrend happens to manifest down here long before the green erases red, and it happens to break the bullish 10-minute rubber band candle, okay, I'm not opposed to trading it to the upside. Same thing, if a 10-minute downtrend happens to manifest up here long before the red erases green entry, and it happens to break the bearish, okay, 10-minute rubber band candle, I'm not opposed to trading it, okay? Please remember, traders, okay, downtrends in this environment is counter trend, okay? Chances of them working aren't as good as the uptrends, okay, or the 10-minute uptrends in this environment, okay? They could be cut short at any time because they're downtrends in an uptrend environment, okay? So a lot of times you'll see me pass on some downtrends. Like there was a downtrend here on this day. I passed on it because I felt like we were in an uptrend, all right? So I didn't want to trade it. I thought maybe it would find support here, 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 or here, and I didn't want to trade into right into support. Okay, so I did not trade it. See right here on the top of these, see the top of these wicks? That was support. Okay, so for me, I said I'll pass because I don't like the idea of trading right on top of support. All right, so I didn't trade that downtrend, but I did trade this one because we broke support 640.40. Okay, so again, there's certain ones that I'm in favor of trading for myself. Okay, I just feel more confident with that. Okay, right now, again, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. We're in a bullish environment. I like them especially when they break the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle. All right, let's look at QQQ. All right, QQQ got a game plan as well. All right, it's not much different than SPY. Okay, again on QQQ. All right, I like, all right, I like 2 days till expiration and 9 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5 because they have more open interest. More open interest equals better liquidity, higher liquidity with strikes $2 to $10 or $15 out of the money. Okay, I'm not I'm not opposed to trading. All right, I'm just saying this. I'm not opposed to trading 0 DTEs or 1 DTEs. Okay, I'm just saying when I start out a small account, those I like to have a little more time. All right, a little more space to work with price so that I don't get burned. All right, so but I'm not opposed to trading zeros and ones. Sometimes I do when I see opportunity uh, fits the scenario or the trade setup. Sometimes you'll see me pick up some zeros. Okay, same thing. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends over VWAP. We have a green erases red entry over 565.90. The pivot 562.80. Above it I'm a bull. Below it I'm a bear. All right, and we have a red erases green entry under 559.55. Okay, so there is QQQ. All right, that's the game plan. Let's flip to a different chart and let's look at QQQ on the 2-hour chart. And that is right there. Okay, QQQ 2-hour had a downtrend coming into the close. Notice we got the cross in the post-market, pre-market hours. Okay, again on QQQ, I like those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP inside the 2-hour, inside the bigger time frames. Okay, I like that. That's my favorite. All right, QQQ or SPY, either one. I like them. All right, on the daily chart. Okay, on the 10-minute, you can see on the 10-minute into the close, 10-minute uptrend into the close. Okay, again, consolidation over prior consolidation is a bullish environment. Okay, just want to point that out. Everybody here in BYOB knows that. For those of you out in podcast land, that is a bullish environment. I would be in favor of trading 10-minute uptrends after if they happen to not fill gap and pull back and try to find support at a higher low. Okay, 10-minute uptrend. I would wait for it. That's what I would do. I would wait for that 10-minute uptrend to manifest over VWAP. Okay, I would look for it. I would hunt it down, okay, and trap it. That's what I would look for. That's my plan. All right, on the daily candle, all right. Again, like I said, everybody got lower highs and lower lows, okay. Notice they did not break the low, so they're still in an uptrend, okay. Had they made a lower low, they would be in a downtrend, okay, but still in an uptrend, okay. Moving over to the right, okay. Notice consolidating over to the right, QQQ on the daily chart. Okay, still in an uptrend and still bullish. Here's the quad lines up at the top of quadrant 4. That is bullish. I must say on QQQ and SPY, we are showing the head and shoulders pattern up here. Okay, we do have some big earnings coming out pretty soon. Hopefully, the numbers and the inspiration will decapitate the head and void the head and shoulders pattern. Okay, that's what we need to do. In order to void this pattern, we got to decapitate the head. All right, there's QQQ. All right, again, weekly chart uptrend, monthly chart, yeah, uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM, same thing, lower high, lower low, closing inside bullish trap over the 17, top of quadrant, middle of quadrant 4, in an uptrend, still in an uptrend and bullish up here in the middle of quadrant 4, diamond down. Okay, diamond down, again, same thing, lower high, lower low, closing under the bullish trap and over the 17 EMA, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Hasn't made a lower low, so still in an uptrend and bullish. FNGU. FNGU is a little bit different. Okay, so FNGU is still bullish because they're up there at top of quadrant 4. They technically have a downtrend. They got the downtrend by making, see that tail that you can barely see it right there. See that tail that comes through that 17? Well, they made a lower low right here. Okay, so that this one candle, all right, gave them a lower low. So that put them in a downtrend as a label, all right? But get this, ever since making the lower low, okay, they haven't been moving any lower. They moved up or over to the right. Okay, see, downtrend, and where did price go? Back up. And because they haven't made a higher high, okay, they've been unable to negate the downtrend label. All right, so there it is. FNGU's in a downtrend that's really not working. Okay, all right. Neither is an uptrend. All right, because it's just moving over to the right. We're just consolidating here. Up there at quadrant 4, that is bullish. Notice price action is holding the higher ground. That is a bullish environment up there. Okay, so that's FNGU. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2101. Okay, so we lost some breath on our bullish move yesterday. On our bullish rally. All right, up to new highs. Okay, so this is for that bullish rally. We lost some breath yesterday. Okay, so not as much momentum, not as much participation. Okay, kind of dipping back here. Okay, that's T2101. T2122. Okay, again, we dipped out of the overbought zones and we went airborne over the buy zone, airborne over the buyer's chop zone, landed in the seller's chop zone, and I guess the water was too cold there or something, but Goldilocks just didn't like it, and she went back up here to the buyer's chop zone, and she seems to like it right there in the buyer's chop zone, making double bottom right here and meandering back into the buyer's chop zone. I wouldn't doubt it if we find ourselves back in the buy zone early this morning. We'll see. That's T2122, still on the upper side of the 50-yard line, okay? So that's bullish up there, okay? Not by much because we're just in the chop zone, but that's bullish up there, holding this low up there. So you got, here's a low, there's another higher low, okay? It's a lower low from here. It's a higher low from the perspective of these two lows right here, okay? So price action, having a little pullback, maybe the bulls will be inspired and drive us right back up to the buy zone. We'll see. T2122. T2123, okay? New all-time highs on T2123 yesterday. Look at this. Price moves up. You got it. And it planks, all right, over prior consolidation. See that? That is a bullish environment right there. Okay, price action goes up and holds that higher ground. Okay, so new all-time high for T2123. Love that. Okay, kind of predicted that might happen long time ago. Well, I did say price needs to get through this and this and this, and then we're looking at new all-time highs. Anyways, 15-minute chart, yes, is bullish and in an uptrend, and we've got 200 SMA right there up over that. That's bullish. Okay, let's take a look at the 3-bar chart, same product. Okay, again, new all-time highs up here. Okay, we're up over the 200. That's bullish. Okay, we're up at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, and we're in an uptrend. So both the 15-minute and the 3-bar chart are both in uptrends, all right? Near the top of quadrant 4, that is bullish up there, okay? Making new all-time highs. Of course, we got a big head and shoulders here. That'd be a left shoulder. This would be a right shoulder right there. We'll see how far it wants to go. Again, this is all brought to you by, guess what? The inflation, okay? So what does inflation do? Okay, for the consumer in us, it sucks, all right? But for the investor in us, what does that mean? Well, that means a higher price point for companies that have selling goods and services, right? So they're going to take in more revenue. When they take in more revenue, and management, the COO, the Chief of Operations Officer, all right, when he's got his act together and everything is running smoothly, a lot of that higher revenue comes in and moves down to the bottom line, increasing the profit per share, which then, of course, is going to require a higher price point. And then when you get a higher price point for all of the securities in the NYSE, not saying all of them, but just figure if inflation is happening, they're all going to increase their prices. All right, not all of them. Again, most of them, and therefore that's what you get is these new highs. So this is the cumulative 4-week new high low ratio up there. So this is a beautiful thing. Okay, like I said, inflation not good for the consumer, but great for the investor. All right, because you got new highs up there. Okay, there's T21.23. Okay, let me turn this volume down. Something's going on. All right, let's take a look at FNGU price action. In the overnight action, that's nice. Nice consolidation up there. Like to see a breakout to the upside. Not quite over this, equal. Kind of showing head and shoulders forming an inverse head and shoulders. All right, this being the head, left shoulder, kind of forming out a right shoulder here. FNGU yesterday, okay, sell off. All right, and then into a double bottom with a rally back toward the 200 SMA. In the post market, they managed to climb on top of it. Okay, so selling from the first half of the day until we got the double bottom, and then the second half of the day, the bulls came in to rescue the price action. So there's FNGU right there. All right, let's take a look at, where are we? Right there. Okay, let's take a look at oil and gas and precious metals. Gold. Okay, gold, remember I said holding over 300 now, planking for 4 months straight. This is winding up for a breakout. Okay, if you heard me in my past discussions, probably every morning, every evening, talk about price winding up. All right, over 300, holding the higher ground. This is a launch pad. Okay, price moves up, builds a launch pad, and then we light the rockets, and there we go, blast off right there to some new highs. So price for gold is making new all-time highs for gold. Okay. Silver, same deal. Okay, silver moves up, holds the higher ground, okay, and then of course builds out a sloppy launch pad. It's not very uniform, but anyways, new 12-year high on silver right there. This would be yesterday's candle, higher low, higher high, new 12-year high on silver and gold. Okay, UNG. Yesterday's a lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap and over the 17 EMA. That's UNG. Still bearish down here. Still in a downtrend. That's UNG. USO. That's the green candle right here. This is today's candle. Higher low, higher high. Makes a higher high here. So that's an uptrend now, no longer downtrend. Uptrend, closing over the bullish gap. That's the 3 on top of the 8 and over the 17 EMA. Okay, not quite in the upper third, so it's still neutral. All right, because it has a habit of moving up and giving it up. Just look at this morning's price action. Again, you move up, they give it up. I mean, all the time. All right, price action USO. All right. They just have that habit of moving up and giving up. It's not ready yet, all right? Not in the upper third, so it's not bullish, so we're just neutral again, all right? But in an uptrend, all right? It's got some signs of bullishness, little consolidation over prior consolidation, building out, okay? Just not there yet, okay? That's oil, all right? So I did precious metals, did oil. Let's take a look at the economic data and wrap this up. All right, price action right here for dollar. Okay, dollar still in a downtrend. Okay, dollar is in a bear flag. See how price moves down. Okay, price moves. Okay, price moves down and over to the right. Okay, so that's a bear flag. Sloppy bear flag, but down and over to the right. So that's a bear flag. That's a bearish situation. Okay, let me move this over. Yesterday's candle, we closed about 98.21, 98.20, 33, maybe about 98.33 yesterday. Okay, for the U.S. dollar, still in a downtrend. Okay, again for the consumer in us. All right, we don't like a weak dollar because that means it's going to cost us more of our dollars to buy goods and services. So all those electronic components that come from overseas in Asia, okay, it's going to cost us more money because we got a weaker dollar. Okay, so don't be surprised if those, Apple phones or those Android phones wind up being $2,000 this Christmas. All right, just saying. All right. Economic calendar for today. That was yesterday. Today is motor vehicle sales came out earlier this morning. MBA mortgage applications at 7. Factory orders at 10. Jolts at 10. Kashkari is going to speak, and then the beige book at 2. Okay, so really light day today. All right, right there. Yesterday the president spoke. Didn't seem to have an impact. Unless, of course, it was that late day rally, all right, which could have been where price ripped and broke through resistance overhead. Thursday, all right, what do we got here on Thursday? ADP employment report at 8:15. International trades of goods and services 8:30. Jobless claims 8:30. Productivity and claims and costs 8:30. PMI composite final 9:45. ISM services index 10 o'clock. Gas report at 10:30. Petroleum report at 10, and that's it right there. Employment situation on Friday. That is a market mover. All right. Employment situation 8:30 on Friday. Market mover right there. Okay. Earnings. Okay. The headliner is going to be. Well, today Salesforce is going to report after the close, 244 billion. Everybody else just familiar names, not really market movers. So Salesforce reports tonight after the close. Tomorrow, all right, AVGO, Broadcom, okay, almost 1.4 trillion dollars. Okay, that is a market mover. All right. And you can see they're going to report after the close tomorrow night. That is a market mover. That is the main event this week is AVGO and the employment situation on Friday. Okay, for Friday, what do we got? Everything, just some familiar names. Nothing really there that's market moving. The big one that's market moving is Broadcom, which comes out again tomorrow night. All right, that'll be a market mover. Max Payne for today, 640. All right, that's for the SPY options that expire today is 640, and a put to call ratio of about 1.1 put for each call that expires today. Make sure I got everything. Did the dollar, did that. Okay, on SPY. Okay, in the pre-market. Okay, gonna box off. All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna box off. Breakout over that high is an entry. Okay, I will enter if I get a breakout over that high. Okay, breakdown under this low. Okay, is an entry down there. So breakout over the highs and lows of the pre-market, post-market. Okay, those will be entries. In addition to that, I will take one of these and box off the first 15 minutes. The breakout of the first 15 minutes is also an entry. Please, traders, recognize that that's resistance obviously up there if we can't get any higher. So a breakout to the upside could result in price moving up to the high, all right, tagging it, getting rejected, and then moving all the way to the bottom of the breakout box. That's the 15-minute. So in other words, you get a breakout on the upside. Okay, so now let's say we buy calls, okay, only to get squashed, all right, or shortcut or short ceiling right there, low ceiling, and get turned around right there at the overnight highs, and price comes all the way back down and visits the overnight lows. Okay, just saying, if that happens, that's probably one of my expectations, is to see price reverse from here and go check out the bottom one more time before rising higher. Okay, just saying. All right, we're looking for gap fill, which is 645, but I'm just saying, if we do get a breakout on the 15-minute box, be wary of price probably coming up here, trying 2 or 3 times, and then rolling over and coming back down to the bottom of the box. Okay, breakout on the bottom side. Again, my target would be gap fill. If we got underneath gap fill and consolidated, okay, of course it would be this high and this low would be my next 2 targets, right there and right there for SPY. Okay, so breakout of this side, looking for a test of the overnight lows, and then if they got below that, a test of gap fill right there. If price fails to fill gap by 1 penny or 2 pennies or 5 cents, I'm going to tell you that is a bullish clue. All right, if they fail to fill by 1 penny, 2 penny, 3 pennies, that's a bullish clue that the bulls held them off, and get ready to get bullish. That's what my plan is going to be. Okay, is to get ready to get bullish. That's a bullish clue. If they fail to fill gap by 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent, all right, that's a signal for me. All right, so watch for that to possibly happen today. Okay, all right, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in about 35 minutes. We'll open up the markets. And by the way, okay, yesterday's recording was a fantastic day yesterday in the morning. You can watch the recording, all right, if you come up here. Okay, see if I can do this smoothly. If you come up here, all right, and you hit the hamburger, okay, and you pull up recordings, all right, if you hit that, a new tab will open up. See it right there with the recordings. Okay, this is from yesterday. Nice day yesterday. This is from Friday. Nice day Friday. Okay, this is from Thursday. Nice day Thursday. Wednesday last week. Okay, and that was the open house right there. Okay, just saying, you can watch it where I say I'm buying calls, and I show you right on screen as I make money. All right. Well, as I make, my account grow right there. All right. So they're right here. All you do is hit the hamburger. Okay. And to get to the e-learning on Thursday, you're going to find it right here in the combo room. Okay. So you're going to go to your BYOB member page. Okay. And you hit combo room right there. All right. You log in, and if I hit that, you'll see it open up over here. All right, so that's how to get to the combo room. All right, and I will leave a link in the description for the open house. All right, okay, that's it. I'll see you guys all in. This always gives me trouble. About 35 minutes. All right. Nice little video. Watch the market open there while you're hanging out if you want. Okay, all you got to do is hit play. Turn the music up. I don't know if it's going to do. And right back to VWAP up here. which is 6:39. There it is. I called my shot. For a green candle. In the morning. That's me. Bring us all the way back. Calling my shot. Okay. Thanks, John, for sharing.